Ethan had always been curious about the stars. As a human explorer, he had traveled to planets that others only read about in reports. But nothing could prepare him for the world he stumbled upon today. The planet beneath him was unlike any map had shown. Its sky shimmered with green and violet clouds, and the ground was jagged, covered with rock formations that seemed to hum faintly under his feet. He had been tracking unusual energy readings, hoping to find a new form of sustainable power for Earth. Instead, he found chaos. The sounds of shouting reached him first. He froze, peering through the jagged cliffs at a small clearing below. In it, he saw two groups of aliens facing each other, their bodies sleek and tall, with armor that glowed faintly. They were armed with strange energy weapons, but they weren't shooting yet. The tension in the air was thick, like static before a storm. Ethan realized too late that he had wandered straight into a battlefield. He turned to retreat, but one of the alien scouts spotted him immediately. A beam of light shot past him, narrowly missing his shoulder. He dove behind a rock, heart pounding. Ethan's mind raced. He had trained for emergencies on Earth, but nothing had prepared him for this. The aliens were unlike anything he had studied. Their movements were precise, coordinated, and fast. He realized that if they caught him, he had no chance of fighting them off. He needed help, but help did not exist here, at least not until she appeared. A sudden ripple of movement drew his attention to the opposite side of the clearing. A figure stepped forward, tall and radiant, her armor shimmering like liquid silver in the strange sunlight. She moved with authority, and even from a distance, Ethan could feel her presence. The shouting stopped as the aliens on both sides froze, eyes trained on her. Ethan could barely breathe. "Stop hurting him! The human is mine," the figure shouted. Her voice was firm, commanding, and something about it made Ethan's fear lessen just a little. The alien soldiers hesitated, confused. She raised a hand, and with a flash of light, her energy field spread across the battlefield. Weapons clattered to the ground as the opposing factions backed away, unwilling to disobey her command. Ethan had never seen someone with such power and authority. The woman turned toward him, her eyes large and striking, the color of molten gold. Ethan's mouth opened, but no words came out. She stepped toward him, her gaze unwavering. "You're safe," she said. "I won't let them touch you." Her voice had a softness to it that belied her power, but it carried certainty. Ethan realized that in this moment he was completely in her hands. He stumbled forward, cautiously stepping out from behind the rock. "I thank you," he said, though his voice sounded small in the vast clearing. She inclined her head slightly, a gesture that seemed almost human. "Why are you here?" she asked, curiosity flickering in her eyes. "This is not a place for your kind." Ethan swallowed hard. I was following energy readings. I didn't mean to intrude. I'm just exploring." He realized how insignificant that sounded compared to her presence, but she didn't laugh or dismiss him. Instead, she studied him carefully, as if trying to decide something very important. "You humans are strange," she said finally. "Most species would have fled at first sight of us. You stood your ground, or ran, but with purpose. Interesting." She gestured for him to follow. Ethan hesitated, glancing back at the battlefield. The alien soldiers still lingered, watching carefully, but none moved against them. With a deep breath, he nodded and followed her. She led him through a winding path between cliffs and glowing rock formations, her movements sure and deliberate. Ethan struggled to keep up, not only because the terrain was difficult, but because his mind was spinning. Who was she? Why did she care about him? And what kind of world had he just walked into? After what felt like hours but was probably only minutes, they arrived at a towering structure, part palace, part technological hub. The walls shimmered with light, and alien symbols ran along their surface, glowing faintly. "This is my city," she said. "Here you will be safe, at least for now." Inside, the corridors were filled with advanced technology Ethan couldn't begin to understand. Screens displayed data streams in alien scripts, and machines hummed with energy he had never seen. Aliens of various shapes and sizes passed by, some glancing at him with curiosity, others ignoring him completely. Ethan felt like he had stepped into a dream, one that was vivid and alive. The princess, Liara, he learned, though he still struggled to pronounce it correctly, led him to a chamber that was both elegant and functional. It had soft lighting and a view of the city's energy grid stretched out below. "Rest here," she said. "You need to regain your strength. You will need it soon." Ethan sank onto a chair, overwhelmed. "Why me?" he asked after a moment, breaking the silence. "Why did you protect me?" Liara looked at him, her expression thoughtful. "Humans are rare on this planet. I have observed your kind. You are fragile, yes, but clever, compassionate, resourceful, unpredictable in ways that can change outcomes. You are not like the others we have encountered. That is why I protect you. That is why you are mine." Ethan felt a mix of awe and confusion. He had expected fear, maybe curiosity, but not this level of attention or importance. He tried to process her words. "I'm not powerful," he said. "I'm just human." "Exactly," Liara replied. "Exactly why you matter." She moved closer, placing a hand lightly on his shoulder. "Strength is not the only thing that shapes worlds, Ethan. Curiosity, courage, and thinking differently, these are the things humans bring. You have potential. Do you understand?" Ethan nodded slowly. He did not fully understand, but he felt the weight of her words. He had never thought of himself as significant in the universe, and yet here he was, in an alien palace, being protected by royalty who claimed him as important. The moment of calm was broken by a low hum from the city below. Liara's eyes narrowed. "They are watching," she said. "Some of them do not like your presence. You must be careful. Others will test me because of you." Ethan felt a chill. He had thought the danger was behind him, but it was clear that his presence here had consequences he could not yet predict. He wanted to ask questions, but Liara's commanding tone silenced him. "Rest," she repeated. "Tomorrow you will learn why humans are more important than you realize. Tonight you recover. I will remain nearby." Alone in the chamber, Ethan looked out at the alien city. It was magnificent, alive with lights and energy he could barely comprehend. He thought of Earth, of familiar skies and quiet streets, and realized how far he had come. Fear still lingered, but so did a strange sense of hope. If one human could be noticed and protected by an alien princess, maybe the universe was not as indifferent as he had once believed. Hours passed. Ethan drifted in and out of sleep, but the city never rested. He could feel the hum of energy through the floor like the heartbeat of an alien world. And he knew deep down that his life had changed forever. He was no longer just an explorer. He was part of something larger, something he could not yet fully understand. When dawn came, light filtered through the shimmering walls. Liara was there, waiting. Her presence was calm, but her eyes were sharp. "Are you ready?" she asked. Ethan nodded, feeling a mix of nervousness and determination. "I don't know what's coming, but I'm ready to learn," she smiled faintly. "Good, because the journey ahead will not be easy, and yet, it will reveal the truth about humans. Your kind has power in ways you do not yet see. Come. It is time to show you why the human I protected is not just any human, but one who can change the future of my people." With that, Ethan stepped forward, leaving the comfort of the chamber behind. The alien city awaited, filled with wonders, dangers, and secrets he was only beginning to discover. And beside him Liara walked, guiding, watching, protecting, and silently he understood, believing in him in a way no one on Earth ever had. Ethan followed Liara through the corridors of the palace city, his senses overwhelmed by the alien architecture and technology. The walls glowed faintly, pulsing with energy that seemed almost alive. He could hear the soft hum of machinery, feel the vibrations through the floor, and see alien figures moving with purpose around him. Each step reminded him that he was far from Earth, and yet, for the first time, he felt a sense of purpose he had never known. Liara led him to a large chamber at the heart of the city. It was open and airy, filled with holographic maps and floating displays. Aliens of various shapes were gathered there, their forms elegant and diverse, some with translucent skin, others with multiple limbs, all moving with grace and intelligence. Ethan's presence drew glances and whispers. He felt like an observer in a world he could barely begin to understand. Liara turned to him, her expression serious. "These are my advisors. They will teach you about our people, our technology, and our history. You must understand this if you are to be of help." Ethan nodded, feeling the weight of the moment. He had never imagined that his life as a simple explorer would lead him to this. A human being educated and accepted in an alien city. One of the advisors, a tall figure with sapphire-colored eyes and silver markings along their face, stepped forward. "Human," they said in a voice that was surprisingly melodic. We have observed your species. You are fragile in body, but your mind is different. Curious. Problem-solving in ways we have not mastered. Tell us, why do you think you are here? Ethan hesitated. I don't know why I'm here, he admitted honestly. I was exploring, trying to understand new forms of energy. I didn't expect any of this. The advisor's eyes glimmered with interest. That is exactly why you matter, Liara said. You see possibilities we do not. Humans think differently. Sometimes that difference can mean survival. Sometimes it can mean innovation. That is what we need. Over the next hours, Ethan was introduced to the alien city's systems. He learned about their energy grids, their communication networks, and their methods of problem-solving. At first, it was overwhelming. The technology was beyond anything he had encountered on Earth, yet he found himself noticing patterns, small flaws, and opportunities that the aliens had overlooked. When he suggested an adjustment to stabilize the city's energy flow, the advisors exchanged surprised glances. Liara smiled. See? You already bring value. Ethan spent the following days learning, observing, and contributing. He helped repair malfunctioning machinery by thinking about simple principles of cause and effect, something the aliens sometimes overlooked in favor of complexity. He suggested ways to improve communication networks so that the city could respond faster to emergencies. Each small success earned him quiet respect from the advisors and cautious admiration from Liara. Despite the learning, the human could not ignore the underlying tension. The rival faction that had attacked the clearing before was still a threat. Liara explained that the conflict between alien clans was long-standing, with cycles of disputes, treaties, and betrayals stretching back generations. Ethan had always thought of war as blunt and violent, but here it was subtle, complex, and strategic. Liara emphasized that his insight could help prevent needless destruction. One evening, while Ethan was observing a holographic map of the city's borders, Liara approached. Do you understand now why I protected you? She asked. He looked up, realizing that over the past few days, he had begun to see the city and its people differently. They were capable of great intelligence and beauty, yet they were blind to simple, practical solutions that humans could provide. Yes, he replied. I think humans can make a difference even here. I just never imagined it would be like this. Liara's expression softened. It is not just intelligence or skill that makes humans special. It is your courage, your curiosity, your willingness to act despite uncertainty. That is rare, even among the most advanced species. That is why I claimed you. Before Ethan could respond, an alert rang through the chamber. Red lights flashed across the maps, showing movement along the outskirts of the city. Liara's eyes narrowed. They are testing us, she said. The rival faction is probing our defenses. This is your chance to see why humans are different. She gestured for Ethan to follow her to a control station overlooking the city's perimeter. From the station, Ethan could see small squads of alien scouts attempting to breach the city's outer energy barriers. The defending units were ready, but they were relying on standard protocols, predictable patterns that a clever human could anticipate. Ethan studied the movements carefully. If we reroute the energy flow to the lower shields at these points, he suggested, pointing to weak spots on the map, we can channel them into the central barrier and stop them without direct conflict. Liara's eyes widened. Are you certain? She asked. It is risky to override the protocols. Ethan nodded. It's calculated. Trust me. For the first time, Liara watched Ethan take the lead. She guided him through the control sequence, hands on his as they adjusted energy flows and recalibrated shields. Ethan felt a rush of exhilaration. The knowledge that his human perspective, untrained in alien systems, was making a tangible difference. The rival scouts approached the city gates expecting resistance, but the human strategy diverted their path, forcing them back without a single strike. The advisors were stunned. Murmurs of approval spread through the chamber. Liara's face reflected both pride and relief. See, she said, your mind is not just clever, it is transformative. Humans can change outcomes that we cannot even imagine. Ethan felt a warmth he had never known. He had gone from being an observer to being a contributor, accepted in a way he never thought possible. The next day, Liara took him to explore more of the city, showing him how the residents lived, worked, and collaborated. They visited laboratories, training grounds, and marketplaces where aliens traded goods and services in complex systems. Ethan marveled at their efficiency and organization, yet he noticed ways that small human-inspired ideas could improve daily life. He suggested simple tools to help workers lift heavy objects more safely, and even proposed a method to recycle energy waste more effectively. Each suggestion was received with cautious curiosity, then approval. Through these experiences, Ethan and Liara's bond deepened. They laughed together at mistakes, celebrated small victories, and shared stories of their respective worlds. Ethan spoke of Earth, its oceans, forests, and cities, and Liara listened intently, fascinated by the differences and similarities. She told him of her planet's history, of conflicts fought and alliances made, of innovations developed and abandoned. Slowly, Ethan began to feel that he belonged, not as an alien, but as a bridge between species. Yet the shadow of the rival faction remained. Liara was careful not to alarm him, but he could sense the tension beneath her calm demeanor. One evening, while they observed the city from a high balcony, she spoke quietly. "They will not give up easily," she said. "Some will always see humans as a threat. Others will see you as an advantage. That is why your role is important. You must continue to learn, to adapt, and to think beyond what we know." Ethan nodded, understanding that the days ahead would not be simple, yet he also felt a confidence he had never known. The human he had once believed powerless was now a key player in a city of advanced beings. His courage, insight, and compassion had earned him respect. The next morning, a message arrived from the city's border scouts. A small squad of the rival faction had approached again, but this time they were armed with more advanced technology. The advisors debated defensive strategies, relying on their standard protocols. Ethan observed quietly, analyzing the movements and patterns. "We can anticipate their approach," he said. "If we use a combination of energy diversion and distraction, we can guide them away from the city's core without confrontation." Liara smiled. "Do it," she said. "Lead us, human." Ethan's heart pounded, but he felt a surge of determination. He guided the defenders, coordinating energy flows and alerting units to weak points in the enemy's approach. The squad approached, expecting resistance, but every move they made was countered without a single strike. The city's barrier shifted and adapted according to Ethan's suggestions, and the rival squad retreated, confused and unable to achieve their goal. The advisors erupted in quiet applause, and Liara's face reflected pride and amazement. "You see what I mean?" she said. "Humans are not only brave, they are capable of seeing solutions where others see only conflict." Ethan felt a sense of fulfillment he had never imagined. He had helped save the city without violence, without power, only with thought, creativity, and courage. That night, Ethan lay in his chamber, reflecting on everything he had learned. He realized that being human in a world of advanced beings was not a weakness, it was a strength. His creativity, empathy, and ability to see differently allowed him to contribute in ways even the most advanced aliens could not. He understood now why Liara had claimed him, why she had protected him, and why his journey was just beginning. As he drifted to sleep, he knew the days ahead would challenge him in ways he could not yet imagine, but he also knew that he was just a visitor. He was a human who mattered, and beside him, Liara would continue to guide, protect, and trust in him as the future of their world slowly intertwined. The city was quiet for a short while, but Ethan could feel the tension under the calm surface. Liara walked beside him through the corridors, her steps steady and purposeful. "They will come again," she said softly, her golden eyes scanning the walls. "They think a human with us is a weakness, but they are wrong. We must be ready." Ethan nodded. He had learned much since arriving, about alien technology, the energy networks, and the structure of the city. But he had never faced an enemy this intelligent and patient. Every encounter so far had been more than a test of strength. It had been a test of wit. And Ethan had passed using thought, observation, and creativity rather than force. Liara led him to a large observation chamber, one of the highest points in the city. From here, Ethan could see the outer energy fields glowing faintly, protective barriers that hummed with energy. Beyond them, the terrain stretched into jagged hills and rocky plains. "The rival faction has regrouped," Liara said, her voice tense. "They are not reckless. They study us, adapt to our defenses, and strike where we least expect." Ethan leaned closer to the glowing maps. "We can use that," he said. "We can anticipate their strategy before they act." They'll expect standard defenses, but we can change patterns quickly. If we guide them, we can prevent conflict and keep the city safe. Liara's expression softened slightly. I like your thinking, she said. It is human logic. You see possibilities others ignore. That is why I claimed you. That is why I protect you. But this will be the most challenging test yet. The next morning, scouts reported the approach of multiple squads from the rival faction. This time they were larger, more coordinated, and equipped with advanced technology designed to bypass energy barriers. The city's advisors convened quickly, debating defensive strategies. Ethan observed quietly, analyzing the movements and communication patterns displayed on holographic maps. They are testing our reaction times and adaptability, he said finally. If we use diversion tactics and adjust energy flows strategically, we can force them into predictable paths without a direct fight. We can minimize risk and maintain control. Liara placed a hand lightly on his shoulder.
Lead them, she said.
Guide us, human. Show them the difference your kind can make. Ethan felt his heart pound, but he took a deep breath and began issuing instructions. He directed the city's defenses to subtly shift barriers, guiding the enemy squads into zones that were monitored and controlled. Using calculated patterns, he created the illusion of vulnerability, inviting the rival scouts to advance. The squads moved cautiously, believing they had found openings, only to discover that every move had been anticipated and countered. The city's defenders followed his guidance precisely. Each redirection, each energy adjustment, and each subtle maneuver was designed to protect without harm. Ethan's human intuition and understanding of cause and effect allowed the city to respond faster and more efficiently than ever before. The rival squads advanced, hesitated, and ultimately retreated, unable to achieve their objective. The advisors watched in awe. They had relied on protocol and power before, but the humans' approach, calculated, creative, and precise, had prevented conflict entirely. Liara's eyes glimmered with pride. See, she said softly. This is why humans matter. Strength is not always physical. Sometimes the mind, the creativity, and the courage to act differently can shape outcomes that others cannot. Ethan felt a surge of accomplishment, but he also knew the danger had not passed entirely. The rival faction would regroup and return with new tactics. This was not victory, only survival and preparation. Yet he felt a sense of confidence he had never experienced before. For the first time, he understood that humans could contribute meaningfully, even in a world far beyond their understanding. In the days that followed, Ethan continued to adapt and contribute. He helped design energy channels that improved communication between city sectors, suggesting ways to anticipate attacks before they happened. He proposed creative solutions for resource distribution, ensuring that the city's energy reserves remained balanced and efficient. Each improvement was met with cautious approval from the advisors and quiet admiration from Liara. One evening, as they walked along the outer terrace overlooking the city, Liara spoke quietly. You have done more than survive, she said. You have helped my people see new ways to think, to plan, to act. They respect you. I respect you. And soon you may prove even more valuable than you realize. Ethan looked at her, unsure how to respond. I'm just a human, he said. I don't understand your technology or your history fully. I only know what I notice and what I think. That is exactly why you are important, she said. Humans see differently. You notice what we overlook, imagine what we cannot, and act where we hesitate. That is a rare gift in any world. Never underestimate it. The following day, a new challenge arrived. Scouts reported a mobile unit approaching the city, larger than any previous squad and equipped with alien vehicles that moved with surprising speed. Ethan studied the tactical display, analyzing movement patterns and energy outputs. They are attempting a coordinated entry, he said. If we respond with the same old methods, we will meet them in combat. But if we use strategic redirection, we can guide them away without conflict. Liara nodded. Do it, she said. Lead them, human. Ethan directed the defenders, adjusting energy barriers and creating subtle shifts in the city's perimeter. The approaching unit moved cautiously, responding to the apparent openings. Ethan anticipated each maneuver, guiding the enemy into zones where they could be observed, contained, and ultimately diverted without harm. The city's defenders moved with precision, following his instructions while the rival units found themselves unable to breach the barriers or achieve their objectives. Hours passed. The sun of the alien planet shifted across the sky, casting strange colors on the city. By evening, the rival units had retreated, their attempt thwarted without violence. The advisors praised Ethan's strategy, noting the brilliance of a mind that could anticipate and redirect rather than destroy. Liara's face reflected quiet pride. "You see?" she said, turning to him. "Humans are not just survivors. You create solutions, prevent unnecessary conflict, and inspire those around you. You are more than capable of shaping outcomes even among the most advanced civilizations." Ethan felt a warmth he had never known. He had entered this alien world as a simple explorer, lost and unprepared. Now he had become a trusted ally, a contributor whose presence could prevent disaster and foster cooperation. He realized that being human was not a weakness, it was a strength. That night he walked through the city with Liara. The streets glowed softly, aliens moving with purpose and care. He observed the beauty and complexity of the society, noticing how small human-inspired ideas had improved efficiency and safety. Children played in areas carefully designed with energy fields that protected them from harm. Workers moved more easily, using tools and systems Ethan had suggested. Even the advisors had begun to implement some of his recommendations in other sectors. Liara watched him quietly. "You are more than I imagined," she said. "Your courage, insight, and creativity have changed my city, my people, and perhaps even our future. But this is only the beginning. Greater challenges will come, and you must continue to think, to learn, and to act differently." Ethan nodded. He had grown in confidence and skill, but he also understood the truth in her words. This world was complex, and the rival faction was patient and cunning. Every victory was temporary, and the next challenge would require even more ingenuity. The following days were spent preparing for future threats. Ethan trained with Liara, learning more about the city's technology, the behavior of alien species, and advanced problem-solving methods. He adapted quickly, using his human intuition to identify weaknesses, propose improvements, and plan strategies that did not rely on force, but on creativity and foresight. Liara observed him closely, sometimes smiling at the human's persistence and cleverness, sometimes offering guidance when he overthought a solution. Through it all, their bond grew. Ethan began to understand not just the technology and politics of the alien world, but its people. He saw kindness, creativity, and intelligence in ways that transcended species, and Liara, in turn, relied on him not as a human visitor, but as an essential partner, a mind capable of seeing paths that even she could not. As the sun set, painting the alien sky with hues of green and violet, Ethan realized something profound. He was no longer an outsider. He was part of this world, part of a society that valued intellect, compassion, and courage. And he had proven, in the face of challenges far beyond his experience, that humans could not only survive, they could excel, inspire, and make a difference. With Liara by his side, he looked toward the horizon, knowing that future challenges would come, but he was ready, because in this alien world, among beings far more advanced than himself, he had discovered the true strength of humanity, the ability to think differently, act courageously, and change the outcome without ever resorting to harm. The days following the last encounter were filled with preparation and reflection. Ethan moved through the palace city with confidence now, no longer overwhelmed by the alien technology or the complex social systems. He understood how things worked, and he knew how his human perspective could make a difference. Liara continued to guide him, but she gave him more freedom to experiment, to propose solutions, and to test ideas. She trusted him completely, and that trust fueled his courage. One morning, a message arrived from the scouts stationed near the outer energy fields. A larger unit from the rival faction was advancing, this time with vehicles designed to bypass energy barriers entirely. The city's advisors convened immediately, discussing defensive strategies. Ethan observed quietly, his mind already analyzing patterns and potential outcomes. "They are attempting a direct approach," he said finally, "but we can use diversion, channeling, and prediction. If we guide them carefully, we can protect the city without harm." The advisors murmured among themselves, impressed by the human's clarity and foresight. Liara smiled. "Lead them, Ethan," she said. "Show us the power of your perspective." Ethan took command of the defense. He coordinated the energy fields, adjusting barriers to create illusions of vulnerability. He guided patrol units to move strategically, ensuring that the advancing forces would follow predictable paths. Using subtle shifts in energy and movement, he directed the rival faction away from the city's core and toward zones where they could be observed and contained. The enemy advanced cautiously, expecting resistance. Every move they made, Ethan had anticipated. By the time they reached the final diversion zone, they realized their efforts had been completely redirected without a single shot fired. They retreated, frustrated and unable to breach the city's defenses. The advisors applauded, and even the skeptics nodded in approval. Liara's eyes gleamed with pride. "You see," she said quietly, turning to Ethan. "Humans are capable of more than brute strength. You create solutions, prevent conflict, and inspire those around you. Your kind can change the outcome of entire battles without raising a weapon." Ethan felt a warmth of satisfaction he had never known. He had entered this world as a simple explorer and was now a trusted leader, valued for his mind, his courage, and his insight. The rival faction had been repelled, but Ethan knew they would return. He also knew that their respect for him and Liara's city had grown. By preventing conflict and demonstrating intelligence, they had earned a degree of caution that might prevent future attacks. Yet preparation was still necessary. Over the following weeks, Ethan worked closely with Liara and the advisors to improve the city's defenses and systems. He suggested ways to enhance communication networks, streamline energy distribution, and train patrols to respond more efficiently to unexpected situations. Each recommendation reflected human intuition and logic, combined with lessons learned from the alien technology. Slowly, the city adapted, becoming stronger and more resilient without resorting to violence. During this time, Ethan and Liara's bond deepened. They shared stories of their worlds, laughed over small mistakes, and celebrated successes. Liara told him about her childhood, the pressures of royalty and the challenges of leading her people. Ethan spoke of Earth, of oceans, mountains, and cities that seemed simple compared to the alien world, yet filled with humanity and ingenuity. Through these conversations, they developed a profound respect and understanding of each other. One evening, as they walked along the city's highest terrace, Ethan gazed at the horizon. The twin suns were setting, painting the sky with colors he had never seen before: deep violet, soft green, and hints of gold. The city below glowed with soft energy, alive and vibrant. He felt a sense of peace knowing that his contributions had helped protect this world, and that he had made a difference not through strength, but through thought, courage, and creativity. Liara spoke quietly beside him. "You have exceeded my expectations," she said. "Not just in your cleverness, but in your courage and your willingness to act. You have taught my people to see differently, to think beyond tradition. You have changed our future." Ethan smiled, humbled by her words. "I just did what I could," he said. "I never imagined it would matter this much." Liara placed a hand on his shoulder, her touch gentle but firm. "It matters because of who you are," she said. "Your kind is rare in its ability to combine logic with empathy, strategy with creativity. That is why I claimed you, and why I will always protect you. You are more than a visitor. You are a partner, a symbol of what humans can achieve." The city had settled into a rhythm of vigilance and learning. Ethan worked alongside the aliens, helping to plan, improve, and innovate. His human perspective offered solutions that the most advanced alien minds had overlooked. Through collaboration, the city grew stronger, safer, and more united. And with each passing day, the rival faction grew more cautious, wary of the human whose mind could outthink and outmaneuver them without aggression. Then came a day of formal acknowledgement. The council of the city gathered in the central plaza, a space that shimmered with light and energy. Aliens of all kinds assembled, curious and respectful. Liara stood beside Ethan, her presence commanding yet warm. She addressed the crowd, her voice carrying across the plaza. "This human has proven that courage, creativity, and insight are powerful tools. He has helped protect our city, improve our systems, and show us new ways to think. Today we recognize him as an honorary ally and advisor, a bridge between our worlds." Ethan stepped forward, feeling the weight of the moment. He had never imagined such recognition. He looked around at the crowd, at being so different from himself yet united by respect and cooperation. "Thank you," he said simply. "I came here as an explorer, but I stayed because I believe we can learn from each other. I am honored to help, and I hope to continue doing so." The crowd erupted in applause, not loud or violent, but a wave of acknowledgement and respect that resonated through the plaza. Ethan felt a profound sense of fulfillment. He had arrived as a human in an alien world, unsure of his place, and now he had proven that his kind could contribute, lead and inspire without resorting to force. Later, as the sun set once more, Ethan and Liara stood together on the terrace overlooking the city. "You have done more than survive here," Liara said. "You have helped my people see the value of humans. You have shown them that intelligence, courage, and creativity can change outcomes even in a world far beyond your own." Ethan smiled, feeling a calm strength he had never known. "I never imagined humans could make such a difference," he admitted. "But now I see. Maybe that is our true strength. Not power, not technology, but the ability to think, adapt, and act with heart." Liara's gaze softened. "Exactly. And you have reminded me that even in the most advanced civilizations, humility, creativity, and courage matter. Humans bring balance. You bring perspective. That is why you will always have a place here beside me and among my people." For the first time, Ethan felt completely at home in a world that had once seemed incomprehensible. He realized that his journey was far from over, but he was ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. With Liara's guidance, the trust of the city, and his own human ingenuity, he understood that he could face anything, not with force but with thought, courage, and compassion. The alien city glowed softly beneath the twin suns, alive with energy and promise. Ethan and Liara looked toward the horizon, knowing that the future held challenges, discoveries, and opportunities beyond imagination. And in that moment, the human explorer understood the profound truth of his journey, that humanity could thrive, inspire, and lead, not through strength alone, but through the power of the mind and heart. Even on a world far from home, Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the energy of the city, the pulse of life around him, and the bond he shared with Liara. He realized that humans could bring hope, solutions, and unity in ways others could not, and with that understanding he smiled, ready for the adventures and discoveries still to come, knowing that he had earned a place in a world far beyond his own, a symbol of humanity's courage, ingenuity, and spirit. And as night fell, the city's lights shimmered, reflecting not just technology, but the triumph of understanding, collaboration, and the enduring strength of a human heart in an alien world.